Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to all of you guys and to my fellow panelists, Mr. Dabo. And that was a pleasure. The conversation around the diaspora, I think even if we speak about it from a perspective of Gambia, we won't be doing it any justice. I think every Black nation around the world is anchored by its people in the diaspora. And there's also a saying in terms of to whom much is given, much is expected. So the diaspora, even if you talk about transitioning or reconciliation, I think oftentimes the word that's important is reclamation. How do we reclaim and get something back that not only belongs to us present day, but belongs to the future as well? But the diaspora conversation is also very tricky because oftentimes I say for you to be a diasporan, it means you should have left. Why did you leave? To whom did you leave for? But is it harder to leave or is it harder to come back? And what does come back even mean? Most diasporans like me are here physically, but majority of them are here financially every single day because you get sutural bumi gache, for food, education. So I think oftentimes, even if we speak about the diaspora in terms of Nipsilen, come home, no, they cannot come home. Most African nations will go into poverty and starvation if all the diasporans come home. Each diasporan has a responsibility to define how will you come home. People like myself, I am Gambia because I do come from privilege. I have a family that don't depend on me for their daily living. Most people in the diaspora don't have that opportunity because Maya is alhamdulillah. So for me to leave my career in the USA, yes, is a sacrifice, but it's a sacrifice that's rooted in acknowledgement of privilege. So that conversation oftentimes is also not had because it's easy to shame Gambians in the diaspora, Nipsile and violence in the gate. No, not everybody could come. So the people that can come, you have to have a very comfortable relationship with discomfort. Because coming home is one of the biggest sacrifices most people make because it requires you destroying a life that you knew. And all of us like comfort. And Gambia, comfort is scarce. Gambia, you could put everything in your life to Gambia and Dara to Ghana. So it comes with a different kind of spiritual relationship with why you're coming home. So I think the responsibility is big, Sarah, but it has to be very nuanced in how we have a conversation about it. Alhamdulillah, Gambia has peace, and we take it for granted sometimes. But even if you look at the nation, they didn't say prosperity, progress. Gambia said peace, progress, and then prosperity. Prosperity should be the destination, not for us. I don't think we'll reach prosperity in my generation. My generation will have to decide what everybody is going to sacrifice for. There's a Gambian who's born today. That's who prosperity is going to be for, not our generation. We've already lost one generation of Gambian minds, talent, because Amunwan Jama, right? So part of the conversation is how do we start having 50-year conversations and not 4-year conversations? But the role is huge. It will require sacrifice, and it will require us realizing that nobody is coming to save us. And Gambia is so fragile that most parts of the world, we are an afterthought. But Gambia and vitamin for Digo, for Bugambopam, and for Gombopam. So I think if we leverage the diaspora, then we could start seeing how we could change Gambia in 2050, because it's not going to happen now, but it's a tremendous responsibility. They say $760 million comes from the diaspora every year. We all know it's more than that, because our aunts and uncles love Dugalamafi Majola Fele. And it doesn't show up on the reports. I think the diasporans in the now need to start having a conversation around economic liberation. Economic liberation. What do I mean by economic liberation? Any place that has a lot of problems needs people to solve those problems. I don't think we're aware in terms of where the diaspora dollars go to, who it goes to, why it goes there, and is it staying not even a year later. but sometimes weeks later. So it's twofold. The creators need diaspora to put their money in businesses that could solve our problems, that could create employment for half the people in the room, if not more. So it's two ends, and it's all money. Every nation, every sovereignty, the people's power in wealth, we have to pay attention in terms of where is the Gambian dollar going to, who is it going to, and what are they doing with that money? It's one thing to say, let's say last year, 51% of the diaspora money went into building materials. How many Gambians have businesses that are in the building industry to accumulate $350 million? That $350 million has left Gambia last year. But the diasporans are contributing. They're building homes, right? Even migration, when we talk about migration is a human right. And I think as much as we talk about, there's nothing illegal about migration. Human beings are meant to go where there's opportunities and resources to fend for yourself. But the conversation right now has to be an economic one. Gambian diasporans need to know who are the Gambian builders, who are the Gambians that are solving problems. Let's put our money behind those individuals because they will be the custodians of jobs for generations to come. That's one end. The second, in terms of start tracking where your money goes to. There's nothing wrong. You don't have to be anti something. You just have to be pro Bugasaboba as well. So the diasporans have to have a conversation around economic liberation because us in the private sector, I could tell you we're losing in a way that most people don't realize. Money is coming into this country from the diaspora. Money is not staying. And the young people don't have jobs. And the ones that don't have jobs are not paid a living wage. That is a function of us not paying attention to the economic power of the diaspora because Black people, the wealthiest Black people in the world, live in the diaspora. So that's a conversation about now. Yes, we need certain things in terms of the right political environments, the enabling environments, the people who have power bestowed on them being pro-diaspora, because the elephant in the room is and it's very confusing. So the things that we go through just to have impact in this country, people that don't look like us, and you question, that has nothing to do with them. That has everything to do with us. The diaspora, because as a human being, if you're pouring, at some point, even if you were 35 years old, like I was when I decided to leave my career and come to Gambia, you could wake up and you're 40 with wife and children, and you cannot sacrifice the way you. So the conversation right now is an economic liberation conversation. Let's control the power of the Gambian dollar that's coming in and make sure it stays and it circulates within our people. That's when we become self-sufficient. So for me, everything is job creation, job creation, job creation. Don't give a man fish, teach him how to fish. I think there needs to be a very intentional focus in terms of even the private sector. Oftentimes the victim, who are they? What skills do they have? Are we helping them get jobs that allow them to sustain their families? I think it's the same conversation around, people that when maybe back when came home, you can't give them this money. I think giving somebody a skill that allows them to have a dignified life is the best way you could sustain him and change his life in one generation. So by the time that person's grandchild is born, they may not remember or still harbor the trauma of their grandparents because the opportunity that was given to them as part of the healing and transition process was actually a job, dignified pay. And it goes back to the diaspora. I think most diasporans don't know which diasporan or Gambian companies are providing employment as well too. So it's just following, for me, give somebody a job, give them a skill, and then they'll be allowed to live a dignified life. Because I think the scariest part for me is the diaspora is changing. When I was young, my uncles and aunts, 5 or 6 of them could work on one social security number in America, one ID. So meaning it was 6 people who could earn a living to send money based on one person's immigration status. So it's actually becoming harder for the Gambians in the diaspora who are undocumented to have access to resources, money, education, but also you have the generational thing. The way I love Gambia, the way I am committed to Gambia is very difficult for my 7-year-old daughter. She's not connected to Gambia in that way. So when she's 25 and she decides that Gambia is not for her, she's not going to be obligated to send money home. So even from a remittance standpoint, that's going to go away. But now diasporans, third generation Gambians really don't care about Gambia. There's no connection here. Their parents don't own businesses for them to come and inherit. Maybe my kids have an opportunity because they know their father now has a business and I want to leave the business and they're coming to visit. So we really need to follow how there's dwindling resources in other countries, but also here for the victims, for the people, how do we create an opportunity and an ecosystem that gives them dignified pay? And as much as I'm going to mention this because it matters, and I know Flex is aware, my company should have died last year. My company should have died last year. Not because of the idea, because sometimes I woke up and I felt like I chose the wrong company to bring this idea to. But Natula, because this is my country. And behind, it's not only a Ismail Abaji story, it's not an Inovrek story. There's so much pain from people in the diaspora who genuinely gave Gambia a strong effort. And oftentimes it's not the government, it's everyday Gambians who could literally destroy somebody's life worth. And it's just a Tuesday. And then when those people leave, they leave forever. So you block out a generation of their family members who will never contribute to the Gambia as well. But to answer your question, job creation. We need to know who are the victims that need support. Let's get them in dignified pay. Thank you so much.